Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your breakfast bankroll for Sunday, August 21st, 2022. 10 days left of the month of August. Everyone rejoicing. Labor Day weekend on the horizon. Football is basically here. Next Saturday, week 0. Have a handful of games going off then. Winding down the summer as kids get ready to go back to college. Out west, I know a lot of kids have already started back to high school. Hope everyone is enjoying and embracing these moments instead of, just rushing to September because football is back, and then getting the Halloween decorations up. I saw a couple clips on social media. Someone went into a Walgreens or something, and Christmas stuff was already out. So, anyways, been a real good week for the ECSI VIPs. You know, when you are right there following these games, and you can see these progressing, and when you're on the wrong side, you just shake your head. But when you're right there, and then they fall into play and you cash. It's beautiful. We've had now 2 days this week, a 4-0 day earlier this week, and then yesterday a 3-0 day plus 3.74 units yesterday. I called it a 3 dog night special, but I just wanted to start and say just how close, we're 8-3-1 our last 12 games here, but I'm going to go back to Friday for 1 second. What a difference a day makes here. Friday, we had the Rockies and San Fran over 11, and we got a push. No one scored the last 3 innings, and there were leadoff doubles in both halves of these innings. Guys on third, less than 2 outs, and couldn't get it across. We had a Rangers team total of over 3.5. Again, stuck on stupid. I've thrown those guys back to spring training. I've seen enough. A new manager, new GM, it doesn't matter. Those guys are just playing out the string there. And then we had the Oakland team total on Friday, over 3.5. Scored 2 in the first. Really should have had at least 3. Left the bases loaded. No outs. Couldn't get anything across late. And so we go 0-2-1 on Friday. Yesterday, White Sox plus 153. Now, you guys know my thought process when you're getting into Mother Nature. And it looked like they were going to be able to start the game. There was a 20-25% chance of rain. It must have moved a lot faster. There was about a 2-hour rain delay. And at that point, I'm like, you know what? I don't care. Don't play this game. It was Cueto versus Bieber, but it was Cueto of what, 8, 9, 10 years ago. 8 2/3, 113 pitches, 2-0 shutout win, plus 153. Nice dog there. Hendricks comes in for the last out there. Phillies plus 111, game 2. You guys know my thought process on a doubleheader. Wait and see who wins the first game, double back on the loser in the second game. It was 4-0 when I sent the alert out. I was pretty comfortable the Mets were going to win that game. So we get that one across 4-1. And the last game, this one was a classic. We had the Cardinals run line, minus 1.5, plus 111. I wasn't a big Hudson fan there, to be honest with you. And Bumgarner, lefty Cards raking versus lefties. Well, Hudson, 2 walks in the first inning, gives up 2 runs. Hudson in the third inning, 2 walks, gives up 2 runs. And you saw it on my timeline. It was frustrating as hell. I'm like, it's a classic. Guys, 2 walks in 1 inning in the major leagues is going to equal 2 runs. It is what it is. Well, Cardinals take a 8-4 lead. And I'm like, all right. This looks like a 3-0 sweep. Well, in comes Jordan Hicks. Home run, walk, infield hit, yada. 8-7 after 8. And I'm frustrated. Other guys on social media are frustrated. The Cardinals put up 9 runs in the ninth. 17 to whatever the final 17 for whatever. I mean, thank you. We bring them home. So envelope Monday, less than about 12 and a half hours away. We'll have our action parlay to put together as well. But enough from me. Oh, and I'll just start with this because me and Scotty don't do a lot of UFC. Leon Edwards, money came in late on Leon. You could have got him anywhere from plus 300 to plus 280. Wins the first round, gets dominated round 2, 3, and 4. I'm watching it, literally about to just say, I'm done. There was 2 minutes to go. The champ had this one signed, sealed, delivered, and he just blinked and he got hit in the head and lights out. And Edwards wins the UFC. So they're 1-1 now. There'll definitely be a trilogy there. So without further ado, let's bring him in from the Palm Tree State himself, the one and only Mr. Scott E. Webb. Morning, Scott.
Here we go, Jeff. It's Sunday, right? So I heard you say stuff about college football starts next week, which is great. It's great, but I'm waiting a week or two into college football because the better games are going to be then. These games coming up, week 0 or whatever. There's a couple of schools playing, a couple of schools that you've heard of before, but most of it's junk.
Yeah, it's junk.
So but I will say this.
No. So is NFL preseason. So is
Big
Fun. So is Tiddlywinks.
But
listen, when it's pigskin, USFL, XFL, it don't matter. These guys are playing.
Well, no. I'm not saying they shouldn't play. What I'm saying is it's just interest of the games to me. I got no interest in Illinois and Wyoming, for God's sakes. I mean, who cares? I just don't. Everybody's talking about, and I've heard you say this several times about, the Nebraska game against Northwestern. I could care less about that game. That doesn't get
Shame on you.
Doesn't get my blood boiling. But and here's what I'm going to caution everybody. This is a big caution, and this should be something you pay attention to. Number one, these lines for the opening week of college football have been out since May. These numbers have been bet into since May. So if you think the lines aren't where they're supposed to be very, very careful what your thought processes are, because the lines are where they're supposed to be. So that being said, when you're trying to find your edge, you better be sharp as sharp can be for these first couple of games, just because the lines have been out there for so long and people have bet into them for months. And the guys that bet into them, they're not the guys that wake up and go, oh, shit, college football's here. I got to go make a couple bets. They're not those guys. They're the guys that study all this stuff all year long, all week long, all the time. They're the guys that have bet into this. So if there was any easy money to be plucked, they'd still be plucking it. So just be careful what you're doing. That's all.
No, and I'm going to preface this, and I'll say this for the next 24 weeks. It's the people that think that they are going to, when the wife says, hey, I would really like to redo the kitchen, and then the husband or the boyfriend turns around and says, don't worry, football's coming. I'll take care of that by week 3, 4, or 5. And I just sit there and I laugh, because the NFL is so sharp. These lines come out. Okay, now the Superbook and a couple of these other big places have look-ahead lines. You can go bet any game all season. So if you think you got an edge, go get it. God bless you. They probably got 1 or 2 dime limits on those games, however they want to do it. But the fact of the matter is when these games come out, like the first week lines have been out for a long, long time. But the fact of the matter is every week they come out Sunday night while you're watching the 4 o'clock and the 8 o'clock games. And by the time most people wager on these games Sunday at 10, 11, 12 a.m., 12 p.m. before kickoff at noon. Okay, they got to get the latest information, the latest line. They've been picked apart more than a carcass at your local landfill. Okay, they are so sharp. That you can't win.
Well, that was my thought by saying, hey, these games don't really get me going for the first week, because trying to find trying to find edges in a New Mexico State game, trying to find edges in these games. I mean, I get it; they're there if you can find them, but they've already been picked over. I mean, these numbers have been picked over. So in terms of where things really are and what's going on and what's happening, just be really careful the first week or so because football goes all the way through January. So don't lose your money all in the first week of games that don't matter. Lose your money later.
I always say this, usually the first couple of weeks, the favorites, the overs, the public, the degens do very well. And there's a reason why they do very well, because the NFL, that's your carrot. They want to keep you here as long as they can in Vegas. And I always use the guideline as Thanksgiving Day. That's your guideline. And usually it's, November 1st. A lot of these guys have tapped out. I know, Scotty, the last few Sundays that Riley's been here. I'm just trying to pull up the DraftKings board right now. I wanted to bring up the live odds on the last round of golf here before we dig into something here with you and I, because I got a question for you. And
7 more golfers getting ready to go to the Live Tour.
Yeah. And again, by the way, just posted Alvarez is back in the lineup. I guess they pulled him and he went to the hospital. They had a fireworks show and he was breathing in, I guess, a lot of that, and he fell ill to that.
He hyperventilated or whatever.
So the BMW right now, live on DraftKings right now, Cantlay plus 225, Schauffele plus 360, Scheffler plus 450, Stallings plus 800, Scott plus 1,000, Morikawa plus 1,400, Wise 2,000, McIlroy 3,500, and I just wanted to get to this next guy, Neiman. Neiman was my one and done. He's plus 3,500. He starts the day 4 shots back. So what me and Riley like to do is to take the top of the board off and bring our eyes further down. Most likely this will be that 1-2 punch of the Cantlay Schauffele. Does Scheffler get up into the mix? Adam Scott's been playing great. I just want everyone to keep their eyes on Joaquin Neiman. He's plus 3,500. I just wanted to get that out there. But, Scotty, I said this earlier in the week. I said it on Friday. I said this on Saturday. I got to say it again. Where would the Yankees be if Donaldson didn't get that walk-off? I am telling you right now. Listen, Boone was frustrated yesterday as well as he should. I would have followed it up if I was Aaron Boone, and I would have said this, guys, you weren't pressing my asses or my team's asses when we were 35 games over 500 and we had just lapped the field, okay? As you said on our last show, guys, it's okay. I'd rather be doing this on August 20th than September 20th. This is the team that got us here. This is the team that's going to take us to that level that we're going to need to be come October. With that said, what the hell is going on in the Bronx?
Well, when you rank 30th out of 30 teams in offense, you're not going to do very well. So they've been struggling for 2 weeks now. And, I don't know how many people really listen to what I say, but I've said this all season, all year long. The Yankees aren't who you think they are. I've said it when they were winning. They're a team that if you control the walks, you're gonna fight with them the whole time because they're a walk plus a hit and then a home run and they're ahead 4-0. And if they don't get the home run or they don't get the walk, they're going to struggle to produce runs because they don't go out and get 16, 17 hits. They don't get 10, 12 hits. They get 6 hits. They get 8 hits. And Judge gets most of those. So the truth about the Yankees is that they're a team that if you can control the guys on base, you got a good shot. They're a team that wins with their starting pitching, and then now the bullpen's collapsing. So they don't have a back end to support the front, and then they don't have an offense that then masks all those deficiencies that they have. So as they go forward, that's all stuff that they can get right with the offense gets better. And then they don't have to tax the bullpen quite as much because they're winning all these games. And that's what they've been running into. Now that they got to tax the bullpen's falling apart a little bit. So as we go and move along, like with most teams, they can't sit there and run their bullpen out there 14 straight times. So just look at it from a perspective of that this is a blip on the radar screen. But think of this as a future look into the playoffs, because you're not going to get a walk in a blue pit and a home run in the playoffs. It doesn't work like that. You're going to have to produce runs. I'm sure you're going to hit a couple of home runs here and there, but you're going to need to get guys on base. You're going to need to play good baseball, and you're going to have to produce runs other than look for the long ball. And I don't think that the Yankees are a team built that way. Not at all. I mean, they've changed where they're a little better than they were before. They don't strike out nearly as much as they used to, but at the same time that they don't strike out, they're not getting the hits that they need.
And I was kind of shocked. You were shocked at the deadline. The Montgomery move made zero sense when most teams in contention are adding arms because it's an arms race, especially come in the playoffs. And the further you get into the playoffs, again, those starters on their pitching days usually come in now for that one inning. Why waste 30 pitches in the bullpen just because it's your off day to pitch when you can get an inning? So as this progresses, now they get rid of Montgomery, who's been lights out for the Cards. And to really be honest with you, the injury to, was it King? Who was the setup? Who was the bridge guy?
Well, King went out, and then and when Chapman went out, and they put whatever his name is in the back, the kid they got from the Pirates. Holmes, right? They put him back there, and then okay, King's out, and then they bring back Chapman. Chapman's still no good, and then Holmes gets hurt. So now they got bigger problems, but they went and got Efros, who's pretty decent, and I forget they got somebody else too. So they picked up some bullpen pieces. I don't mind as much the Montgomery move because, in theory, in Yankee wisdom, Montas was the better pitcher. So, okay, I don't have room for Montgomery anymore because we're going to throw Germán, we're going to throw Taillon, we're going to throw Cortez, we're going to throw Cole, and we're going to throw Montas. I don't need 6 guys. So what they did was they traded him to St. Louis, and you haven't seen the return on that yet because the center fielder Bader that they got back hasn't played yet because he's been injured, but he's coming back pretty soon. And when he comes back, that may give the Yankees a little different dynamic. Maybe it's a little speed guy that they needed. He's better than some of the other guys they used to run out there, Lacostro and whoever the hell else they had that was supposed to be real fast. And Wade, remember Tyler Wade? They used to run all those guys out there and say, oh, these guys are really fast. They're going to be really good. Okay, well, bullshit. So at least Bader's been playing a while. And he can put the outfielders where they're supposed to be. That puts Hicks on the bench, so for the Yankees, that does a lot for them. And, Montgomery wasn't going to get a chance to pitch anyway. He really wasn't. So they're, so what are they going to do with him? Well, I think they reasonably thought that was the best thing they could do for him, especially when they went out and got Montas. Now, hindsight being 2020, and you never know what next year or the following year is going to look like. But if you don't fix Montas, he's not going to work out, and he certainly won't work out in New York if he doesn't get shit turned around because they'll boo his ass right out of there and he won't pitch again.
I was disappointed as we're about to get ready to break down these games. I was disappointed. I was hoping the Yankees swept the Jays. I was talking this week, Jays outside looking in. Let's just get them out of the way here. And unfortunately, the opposite has happened. And now you've given the Jays more life. There's just another team. As a Red Sox fan, they split with Oakland. Big game in Williamsport today. Sox and Baltimore. Winner wins the series there. I said all along, the Brewers were trying to get ahead of this in the spring. They were shopping Hader. They were shopping him. Everyone's like, well, why would they be shopping Hader? San Diego now. Going to give you a few days off. There's something wrong back there. Now we'll probably won't get that till October or sometime. But again, the Brewers knew for a long, long time ago there was something going on back there. So the Padres, just kind of floundering there. It was
Yeah, but Tatis is coming back, right?
He's going to cost me at least $7,500, if not $20K. I don't think we would have caught first, but we would have easily taken second for $7,500. That's a sore subject for another day. So, full slate of bases, my brother. I'm going to actually let me just bring this up there quickly, everyone. There's 3 preseason football games, and I thought interesting a couple things. Will the Ravens streak go on? Well, Vegas ain't giving them away. They're at Arizona today. Computer model 3.5. They're 6-point favorites right now at Arizona there. Well, they going for 20, 21, 22 in a row, whatever it is. Stupid there. Super Bowl runner-up Bengals at the Giants. The Giants 5.5-point favorites. And the Eagles and Browns been flip-flopping back and forth. Eagles 1-point favorite. Anything over there?
Well, listen, I'll just say this about the preseason in the NFL. The information comes out, and if you don't bet it when it comes out, you're behind. And I'm also going to tell you that it doesn't even 100% matter sometimes what that is, right? So nothing against anything, but Adam Chernoff is out here, and he's played 2 weeks so far of NFL exhibition season. And he's made 8 bets. He's only won 2. He's 2-6 in 8 bets. So if you're trying to get ahead, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, so don't take it that way. But when you're out here trying to get ahead because you read that this quarterback's not going to play, or this offense, or you're trying to get cute about a lot of different angles and trends or emotional, things about these games. It's just not. You got to find a different avenue. That's not the avenue. The avenue you got to go on is what does the quarterback rotation look like, and really, are there quarterback battles or position battles that are important because the players that are playing in these spots are trying to win jobs. And if that's not what's going on, you're just going out there. They're all going to evaluate these players. Think about this. There's, I think, 52 guys that make a roster at the end. I think something like that. And I think they're at, 90 or something like that. Well, they made one cut round already. They're going to cut back 5 more guys this week. And then they're going to cut 27 players the next time. Okay, well, think about that for a minute. You got 32 NFL teams are going to cut 27 players. So how many real roster spots are out there? So if you don't understand the depth of talent that's in the NFL and the teams you're betting on, that's why you're going to lose the spreads. You're going to lose the games. You sit here and you look at it, Houston was a favorite over the LA Rams the other night, and they covered. Okay. So how is that even possible? Well, it's not, but it's motivation. And, when it comes out that McVay's going to sit all of his starters, right? All 22. And then he's going to sit the guys that come in on the rotation. So that's a total of 35 players not going to play in that game. So then you got your next, 35 to 50 players who are going to play, and more than half of those guys are going to get cut. So what does that tell you? It tells you that it's got probably the worst team that you could put out there to play against Houston, who's got battles everywhere. So that's why you bet the way you bet in preseason. You don't bet on anything kind of hardly but that. Of course, it does help to know that one NFL head coach, he likes to win every one of these games. So it helps to know who that is. It helps to understand kind of some of the motivations behind it. But you can sit here and tell me that these quote really good handicappers and really good analysts and stuff know what the hell they're talking about. And, they make their bets as soon as the line comes out because they want to get ahead of all that stuff. Okay, well, go 2-6 and then tell me how that feels following a guy that, is a rock star. And I'm not trying to be negative, but at the same time, that's got to put a little sting in your butt, right? Because you don't understand that he's got hundreds of thousands of dollars in his bankroll, and this is just a thing, right? I'm just playing these games, and then all these other guys are following along, making the bets, doing the stuff, and then they're losing their ass, and they're not even going to be able to play week 1.
No, and that goes to that CLV. The EV, the CLV can that Dave always has pictures of. Is the fact of the matter is if I can get a game as soon as it comes out at 2.5, and I'm going to share it with 100,000 people, and we're all going to bet it because we know the number's going to go to 3.5, go through a key number to 4.5. Well, God bless you. You got it at 2.5. Well, it doesn't matter if the team loses out, right? It don't matter. So it's all those experts, the Paul Stones, all these other big name guys that get these numbers when they come out. Circa uses them to adjust the market. So when these guys have these numbers on a Sunday at noon while you're watching football, the NFL, they already got their following week numbers. These guys with their season totals. Our good friend Ron, who's out in Vegas, who just filled his portfolio with season totals, shopped around all the books. He's got his portfolio filled now. He's got, 6 here, 6.5 here, and 7 here. And he's setting up opportunities for week 14, 15, 16, where there's guaranteed profit, guys. That's what it's called. It's called guaranteed profit. Opportunities to say, hey, I can go in and take the Eagles today +2. If they lose, my Dallas win total wins. There's ways that these people build these portfolios. So you're spot on about Mr. Chernoff. I've talked to him at length. I understand what he's trying to do. But the fact of the matter is, when you got hundreds and hundreds of people following you and trusting you, and you start the preseason 2-8, how much trust are you going to put in NFL week 1? I don't care if he goes 8-2. You're already a little gun shy. That's why we don't play that shit. We just sit here, we watch, we analyze, we give out our thoughts, and then we just say, sit and wait, pump the brakes. So MLB is yours, my brother. Take it away.
All right. Well, we'll make this relatively quick because we've already been on a half an hour. So first game of the day is the White Sox in Cleveland. I really like this game. I like this game for lots of reasons, particularly because Savali's on the mound. Now, the reason this line, I think, is going the other way, meaning that it's coming, Cleveland is being bet on here, is because Savali's latest numbers are really good. His last 2 games out, he's got an xFIP 195, Sierra numbers at 2. That's really good. I mean, his strikeouts are 12.6 per 9 innings. His walk rate's 0.9. He's got a batting average against 167, a whip rate of 0.7. That's like awesome. Those are awesome things. Okay, but his game score for the season's a 46. 46. That's not what aces do. The aces don't have game score 46s for us. They don't. So what does that tell you? So if you got to look a little deeper. So this will be his 3rd start coming off the disabled list. The first 2 starts, which are a total of, I think, 10 innings. 10 innings. And in those 10 innings, they only gave up 6 and 1 walk. So he's done great. He played the same team twice. Same team. He pitched against the same team twice. The Detroit Tigers. So he's pitched great against the Detroit Tigers twice. And he has great numbers against the Detroit Tigers. Last time out was a game score 74, for God's sakes. That's pretty good. Okay, well, here come the White Sox. The White Sox aren't the Detroit Tigers. The White Sox aren't, the Los Angeles Dodgers by any stretch, but they're way better than what the Detroit Tigers are. And when you start to think about, okay, well, the quality of opposition is changing, and Savali is a pitcher that's a game score of 46. Let's see what he is. Over his last 5 starts against the White Sox, he's a game score of 47, and he did pitch against them earlier this year before he got hurt. He's a game score of 42. Savali is not a good pitcher. So his numbers as of late are good. And I think that's throwing people for a loop here. So that's what I like. I like it 2 ways. I played this game 2 ways today. I played the White Sox minus a half run in the first 5 innings, plus 105. And I played them minus 125, which I think now you can get it minus 120 or 119. So I took them full game as well, because even though Cleveland's bullpen is better in the backside right now, the White Sox have a good bullpen. But my thought process is that, if things go the way I think they're going to go here, I think Chicago beats up on Savali in the first 5 innings, gets a pretty good lead, and hangs on to it for the rest of the way. So I played it in the first 5, and I played it in the full game. But this is Dylan Cease off a game score 40. Do you know in his last 7 starts, let me get over there. His last 7 starts was a game score 64, 67, 63, 83, and 66. Prior to that 40, what do you think he's going to throw today? Another 40? No. He's going to go back to doing what he normally does, and probably do it even better than what he normally does, because he had that offset game. So that's what they do. They get so far out there, the numbers get ahead. These guys aren't robots, so they offset that number. And that offset just happened. So this is a good time to be back in Savali, or not Savali, but Cease. So I like that. I like Cease on the road today. I think he's going to do well. He's got great numbers. I mean, his ex-WOBA number is 288 over the last 30 days, over the last month. Then against the Guardians, it's a 264. I mean, it's going to be hard for those guys to get on base. And now he does have a walk problem. So it's not a major problem, but he needs to control the strike zone a little bit. But a batting average against the 210, whip number is 110. So I think this is a no-brainer to me. And the only, quote, no-brainer that I saw on the board. Cincinnati plays Pittsburgh. Just go through this real quick, because I don't know how many people want to bet these games. But Mike Minor's been terrible. And Thompson's even been worse. I don't know if you can believe that or not. So you got one that's got a game score 37, one's got a game score 42. Neither one of these 2 pitchers are doing well. A Sierra number 532 for Mike Minor, and a Sierra number of 460 for Thompson. So I'm just not even going to entertain the game. You got whip rates of near 2. You got batting averages over 300 against them. So the way I looked at it was, my number on the game was Pittsburgh minus 108. I think the number's minus 122. I can't go and support, Cincinnati in this spot. So I'm just leaving it alone. Now, in the next one, New York, Philadelphia is kind of interesting, because we got a major league debut. His name is Jesus, or Jesus. I don't know. Jesus, I'm assuming is how it goes. Butto is pitching for the Mets, and looking up his numbers, he's a big strikeout guy in the minor leagues. Now, he's not really pitched but 1 time in the AAA. He's been pitching mostly AA starts, and then he bumped up to AAA to have 1 start. Now this will be his first major league debut start, and he's throwing against Gibson, and Gibson's an above average Major League Baseball player. So I do look that Gibson's probably going to pitch halfway decent. He's pitched decent against the Mets. The Mets are now kind of in the middle in terms of offense right now. But I can't support Budo here. And I will say that anytime that you get these guys that get called up like this, the advantage is to them. The advantage is because the other guy's never seen them before. And if they have any kind of juice, there's a chance that they're the right side to support. So if you feel like in any way, shape, or form that the Mets offense can get to Gibson, don't hesitate in pulling the trigger and back in the Mets. I'm just not going to do it, because I don't know that the Mets offense is doing enough for me right now. Anyway, that being said, the next game is Houston and Atlanta, and Yerkwitty's been one of these guys that has just turned his life around in the second half of the season. He's off of a game score 74, but his last 7 starts, his game score 62. He's been really good. That's like an ace. But for the season, his game scores a 52. So that kind of tells you, he was a below average pitcher, and now all of a sudden he's an above average pitcher and doing great. Atlanta Morton, he's off of a game score 83. So that bothers me to have a guy be that, no back-to-back super quality start. So I kind of think that Houston might be the better way to go here, just in a sense that, both these guys had great game scores the last time out, but such a high number for Morton kind of tells me that he's due for, kind of a regression role. And we're looking back at his numbers. It's kind of like bad start, good start, bad start, good start kind of thing for him anyway.
I understand that thought process. I do, but I have to also take a peek in, the Braves have won the first 2. Where in holy hell are you ever going to get Houston trying to avoid a 3-game sweep at plus 135, plus 140, whatever the number you get here? It just almost, to me, the way we read the market is they're begging for some Astro money. Not that the Astros isn't the right side, not that the Astros don't have value, the fact that there'll be a sense of urgency, but the fact of the matter is I'd respect this more with a Morton minus 125, 130. Like the first game, I think the second game was a little higher price. Now the third game, I mean, the Braves pitching is kind of silenced the Astros bats for the most part.
Yeah, it's amazing because, and I remember, when I look at the numbers for a week, the Astros were the team that put up 25 runs the other day. So they're a little bit skewed, but Houston's number 3 in offense and Atlanta's number 2 in offense, and number 1 by far, by not even close, like 3 times better than everybody else right now is St. Louis. St. Louis they're just rolling. They got their offense for 1 week is 24 offensive WAR. That's what their number is. The next closest one is Atlanta, 8.9. That's the difference. That's the gap. And then here's what's really interesting. If you go down to the number 9 team in baseball right now, the Chicago White Sox, that is 0.5 offensive WAR. Number 9. Everybody else is below 0. So what's that tell you? It tells you that the teams, and think about, here's the teams that are hitting and tell me if they're any good or not. St. Louis, Atlanta, Houston, Seattle, Cleveland, Chicago Cubs, Philadelphia, New York Mets, and the White Sox. All but the Cubs. All but the Cubs are in there, right? For fighting for playoff spots, and all of them except for the Cubs. So that tells you a lot about where baseball is, right? The good teams can hit. And the Yankees are 29 right now. The Yankees 29. The Brewers are 27. And what's happening to them in the records? They're just falling off the face of the earth. So watch who's hitting and support those hitting teams, and you'll do okay. Of course, it doesn't help you much when the number 2 and number 3 offenses are playing each other in Atlanta and Houston, but whatever. This one, the next game's kind of interesting. This is Manoah and Cortez. And I say it's interesting because, Manoah's fallen off, like he's fallen off a lot. His last 7 game scores a 55 for the season. Now he's a 59. So that's below an ace number. His last time out was a 40. His last 3 is a 49. So that's below average. He's been a Yankee killer, man. He's been really good against the Yankees. His last 5 starts against the Yankees is a 61. So that tells you that's ace-like. I mean, that's really good. But he's got a 409 Sierra number, 419 xFIP. That sort of matches his performance. So those are predictive numbers. His performance is a 111 in ERA minus. So that tells you that he's been 11% worse than an average pitcher. His strikeouts have fallen off. He's at 9, and he's normally a little higher than that. His walk rate is up. He's over 3, so which puts him in the red zone. His batting average against is 252. Whip rate's 136, all in the red. So he's getting hit, and the question becomes: is can the Yankees hit him? Because the Yankees can't hit anybody. So then you throw Cortez on the other side, and we thought he was going through a little struggle, but he's not. He's a game score 58 on the season. He's a 57 for his last 7, and he's a 60 for his last 3. Very consistent. He's a game score 55 against Toronto for his last 5 starts, so that's about average. Better than average. He's got a 356 Sierra number, which is really good. It's in the green. His walk rate is good. His strikeout rate is green, so that's good. His batting average against 181, and his whip rate's 089. And Toronto is 22nd in offense. So this is one of those spots here where I think you're going to have a lower scoring type game because neither offense is doing well. But I would bet on the better pitcher here, and I would probably only play first 5 innings if I was going to do anything, only because I think that once the game goes to the bullpen, I'm not sure what you're going to see from the Yankee side if you're trying to support that.
I'm just trying to do some quick math. 73 wins for the Yankees, 65. So it's 8 in the win column, but Toronto has 2 games in hand, so it's actually 7. We keep saying all week a sense of urgency. Boone kind of blows up yesterday. I hate to bet on the come, and I'm not going to play this game. I'm really not. I could see anyone that wants to jump in on the Yankees. They're going to stop the bleeding at Sunday. End the week at least on the upside. Slow down the J train, but a win here by the Jays with their ace, they would have taken 3 out of 4 in the Bronx, correct?
Yeah.
And technically 6 games back with 6 weeks to go. I mean, this is absolutely bedlam right now.
Well, the projected Fangraphs number is Yankees 95 and 67. Blue Jays 89 and 73. So that's sort of how it plays out there. Yankees have to play only 41 more games. Blue Jays have to play 43. They're saying Yankees will go 22 and 19, which is only 3 games above 500 over the next 41 games, and they're saying the Blue Jays will go 24 and 19. Which is 5 games over, but they're still going to finish 6 games back. That's what I'm saying. I mean, the Yankees have such a big lead. It's hard. It's really hard, especially if they play just a little bit over 500 to catch them. It's just hard. They got the Rays. The Rays winning 23 out of the next 21. Red Sox 21 and 20, and they got the Orioles going 18 and 24 for the Orioles.
Definitely interested in that spot, sir.
Ohtani against your boy coming back off the disabled list, right? So this is one of those spots where I sit there and go, okay, he's first start back off the thing. You want to be against him. You don't want to be on him. And I get it. But this is a game where there's supposed to be rain and there's supposed to be all kind of stuff. This is also the Angels how in the hell can you back the Angels? They're just so inconsistent of a team, and Shohei Ohtani's a dynamite pitcher. But these numbers and trying to get to what are they favored by? What is it, 180 or something?
180, 185, as high as 195 at William Hill. Also, don't forget Erod, not the disabled list and the hurt list. It was the mental health and basically what was he going through, a divorce or something, and he checked out. And I don't know what else he was battling, but it was more on personal reasons, correct?
Well, I think he was hurt too. I mean, I was under the impression that he was hurt too. So I can't dive in there. I can't, there's no way you can get me to support the Angels in a run line or something. You also can't get, I'm certainly not going in on the Tigers. I could see if you wanted to bet Ohtani, go after it or do whatever, but That's just a lot of money. I think the Kansas City game where you got Greinke going today against Yarbrough. Now, Yarbrough's been more of a bulk pitcher, not the starter for Tampa Bay. He hasn't started many games. He's only a game score of 47 on the season. He hasn't been that good. As a matter of fact, he hasn't been great at all for the season, but over his last 7 outings, he's been really good. And Greinke's one of those guys that, he's an on again, off again kind of guy. His last time out was a game score of 47. His season average is a 47. His last 7's been a 50. This is one of those where you got to get a bunch of hits, and you're going to beat Kansas City if you can get a bunch of hits. But I think Yarbrough's due for a bad spot here, so I'm staying away from it because I can't back Greinke. The next game I don't like at all. This is Texas and Minnesota. Early in the season, I'd have been all over Minnesota with Ryan and run lines and whatever I can do, but Ryan's fallen apart. His last 7 starts is a game score of 43. He's down to a game score of 51 on the season. His Sierra numbers are pretty good, so that means that his forecast numbers don't look bad, but his actual number is ERA minus 171, which means he's been 71% worse than an average pitcher over the last month. That's not very good to be 71% worse than an average pitcher. So I'm not going to go there with him, and I don't trust Minnesota's offense either. So and Arihara, I think, is one of those guys that can spurtily, that's not a word, every once in a while pop up and have a good game, and this could be one of those spots for him. This is only his 2nd start of the season, so it's not like he's pitched a lot. And then you got Woodruff and Steele, which this game interests me some. Woodruff has been pretty decent since he came back from the disabled list. His game scored 57 in his last 7 starts, so that's pretty good. A lot better than it was before he went on the disabled list, put it that way. But Steele has been just every bit of good of that. He's been a 57 in his last 7 starts. He's off a game score 63, which I don't like, and Woodruff's off of 45, which I do like if you're going to support a guy. So that means you'd have to support Milwaukee here. But Milwaukee doesn't do super good against left-handed pitching. As a matter of fact, they're one of the worst teams in the league at left-handed pitching. Not total bottom, but they're like 27th, 26th, 25th. I could look it up real quick. Actually, I think I have it right here. Oh no, that's the bullpens. So they are really not a team that I want to back here because of the scenarios that they go through. And then looking at how Steele has pitched against the Brewers, he's a game score 54 in his last 5 outings. So he's been pretty good. I mean, all above average. Woodruff's been a 56 against the Cubs. This is a pretty even matchup here. And thinking in terms of pretty even matchup, you're getting a pretty favorable line if you like the Chicago Cubs. Because, you're looking at Milwaukee minus 150 or more. My number was minus 138. So I didn't think it was too far out of line. But I'm not going to go. And you got to remember, we just talked about how Milwaukee was number 27 in offense, and the Cubs were number 3 or number 5 or whatever they were. So you look at it and you go, well, that's pretty good. That's a pretty big gap. So that tells you that you could get something out of Chicago. Now, let me explain one thing just real quick. That we're getting to the end of the season. You have bad baseball teams. And I'm going to tell you, very rarely should you support the bad baseball teams, even if they got the better pitching matchup, because they're bad for a reason. And the reason is they lose baseball games. So no matter what you think, they lose the games. You heard Jeff talking about certain things at the beginning of the show where they got guys on base and they didn't score. And that's what bad baseball teams do. They just get guys on base and don't score them. So think about that as you're going down the stretch, because the good teams need to win. And I'm not saying you bet on them, because you're going to get more consistent play out of them. That's all. The bad teams will pop up here and there and snag one away from you. But at the same time, don't be in the habit of going looking for bad teams to get value on, because they don't win for a reason. Now, San Francisco, Colorado, this series is pissing me off all the way around. Junis is on the mound against Freeland. Junis is off a game score 71. That tells me he's going to have a train wreck today. But I'm not actually going to go running out there and saying, hey, I want to go bet on Freeland today. He's a game score 47 for the season. He's got a 411 Sierra number. So I'm just staying away. He's got a 42 against San Francisco in his last 5 starts. Funes hasn't really started against Colorado before. Then you got the big mismatchup of Seattle and Castillo against Oakland and Spears. And that's one of those weird spots here where if you just on the face of the surface look at Spears and go, holy shit, that's the guy they traded from the Yankees and they got him over there. And every time he pitches well. It's true. Every time he pitches well. His game score for the season is 62. And he's made like 6 or 7 starts. So he's pitched really, really well. Now the issue is that he doesn't pitch like you think he does. He's not Castillo out there throwing 100 miles an hour. He's a guy out there barely breaking a pane of glass and getting guys out because of where they hit him to. So that's all going to fall apart at some point. Sierra number for Spears is 5.19. XFIP is 4.87. That's a big gap from what an ace does. And Castillo is at, for example, 279 and 302.
2 quick points. Rain delay already in the White Sox Cleveland game. You know me, start and stop, whatever. So just.
But they didn't start, so that's good.
Yeah, and we were fortunate yesterday. I don't know what Cueto was on. I owe him a Christmas card because.
Hey, that guy is their second best pitcher for the White Sox for this season. He's been. Because I was looking at that and I'm like, holy shit, this guy's like rejuvenated himself. He's one of the best pitchers they got because he's better than Giolito. He's been better than Kopech. He's better than Lance Lynn, but he's not better than Cease. So he's their second best pitcher.
And it was funny. We had Riley on earlier in the week and Cueto, who has come over mid-season, called out the team. He goes, there's no sense of urgency here. There's no direction. There's no nothing. And then the GM and the manager kind of told him to zip it. And then he comes out and throws 113 pitches there. Scotty, quick question. And this is a little alarming. It's Quicksand Sunday. There are landmines and gold mines. There's always a lot of landmines here. A little leery that Castillo's only minus 200, or that number looks intriguing to me. Here's where I'm a little nervous, though. And under all those numbers that you just talked about with Sears, the under over is 6 and a hook. Well, I mean, what's the final score here? 6-0, 5-1.
My line is minus 254 for St. Louis, Seattle. Yeah. That's my number. But it's getting to a point where it's over 200, it's over 210, it's over whatever. I think people just see those big numbers and want to play the dogs and just start dumping money into them. But at the same time as that. I think if you put a line out there, say it was Seattle minus 255, you think you're only going to get one-way action, I would imagine. You're not going to get people betting on Seattle at minus 255, are you?
How many people are going to walk to the window and bet Oakland today?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's crazy. Who in the hell is going to bet on Oakland? Well, who's going to bet on Corbin, right? Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I'm just going to, you know what's amazing about that game between Corbin and Manaea? So Corbin, his ERA minus for the last month is 327. I mean, that's like, oh my God. His game score is a 27 for the last month, or the last 7 starts anyway. And when you look at what Manaea is, holy shit, he ain't no better. He's a game score 37. Last time out was a game score 38, and he's got an ERA minus of 206. Pass. Get me out of this game. I don't want to be anywhere near this game. And damn, San Diego can't barely beat that team anyway. So, I mean, what the hell? That's just god-awful ridiculous. This game, next one, I was really interested in. Because I think there's going to be a lot of St. Louis people out there going, man, let's just pile on St. Louis. Look, one of the best pitchers in baseball is Merrill Kelly this year. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. His projected WAR number is over 5. That's up there with the big boys. That's in the top 10. That's top 15, top 12, top 10. That's his game score for the season is a 58. He's pushing being he's pushing being a ace type pitcher, and over his last 7 starts, his game score is a 68. Holy shit, 68. He's got a 62 in his last 3 and a 76 the last time out, which bothers me. 76 last time out, that bothers me. Now he's going to face the best offense in baseball. And then Quintana's got a game score of 54. I mean, I don't care. I mean, it's Arizona. They're not going to hit him that dramatically. But if you're looking for value here, I don't know where it is, because I think Kelly can pitch a good game and still throw a game score of 55, and that's dramatically lower than where he has been. And that still controls a little bit of what St. Louis does. So I don't think this is a cakewalk for St. Louis today. I think it's going to be a much harder game. And if you remember when what's Gallen pitches, it's kind of the same thing when he pitches. Kelly is the only pitcher on my board today that's not red anywhere. The only one. He's green in ground balls, green in fly balls, green in walk rate, green in soft hard contact rate. I'm green everywhere, or neutral. And he's the only one. It's better than Alcantara even. I mean, Alcantara's next. God, but wouldn't you love to bet Alcantara today against the Dodgers with all that money that, his game score against the Dodgers, and he's only faced them 3 times, is a 25. 25. He gets bombed by the Dodgers for whatever reason. And this Pepoit kid, he ain't no good. So if you were going to bet this game, the only way to bet it is to bet the Marlins. But then you got to go, holy shit, can they score any runs? Well, they ought to be able to score runs off this kid. And if anything at all Alcantara can do to hold him down, that would be the right way to go. But I stayed away just because I don't think he's going to be able to pitch the whole game, and they've worn him out in the past. And the last game is Pivetta and Kramer. And Pivetta's off a game score 79, so that scares me. Kramer's off a game score 59, which scares me too, because he's not been good. But game score 51 for the season for Pivetta and a 52 for Kramer is about the same. Game score 52 for Pivetta's last 5 against Baltimore, but Kramer's game score against Boston his last 5, 36. So it gives you an indication that the righter side. The more right side today is going to be Pivetta, even though he's off that game score 79, which kind of leads me to not go there. So anyway, all that being said, I just played the White Sox today.
Great as always. It's Sunday, guys. It's Quicksand Sunday, guys. Take a look at your weekly numbers, okay? The ECSI guys, right now, we're up about 3 units. I'll be sending out an action parlay soon. Envelope Monday is now less than just about 12 and a half hours away. We'll see if we can pop a parlay. Otherwise, week complete, get a couple units, add it to the bankroll as we get closer to football. As always, next week, a lot of guys are regular guests on vacation or out, so I'll be leading by example and trying to get out as much content as possible. Always remember this: if you are gambling today, do it responsibly. If you have a problem, pick up the phone. There's an 800 number. Ask for help. Why myself and Scotty care. We want to see you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from the one, the only, Scott E. Webb at Webby20 MLB. We wish everyone a blessed day. Enjoy Family Day. Get the hell out of Dodge. Go to the beach. Go to the barbecue. Play some cornhole, pickleball, whatever floats your boat. And we'll see you next week.